Hi, welcome to Saroma Shorts. Today we're going to talk about veterinary relocation. The largest number of inquiries that we receive are from veterinary practices that are looking to relocate due to expansion. Kev, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, in fact, last year alone, we helped quite a number of practices to relocate to new premises. There's two elements really. One is the property itself, and you may be purchasing a freehold or you may just be leasing larger premises. And the other element is obviously the kit out and build out costs. So firstly, on the property, the banks have got a very generous offering of up to 100% of property values. And many people don't realise that. So in effect, they're buying the asset for you. On the kit out costs and the build out, if you've had your practice for some time, you've likely got some equity in your goodwill there. And the banks will be able to lend up to 80% of your goodwill value and put that towards the building costs or kit out costs. And in many occasions, it will cover 100% of it. And that's usually turned over about 15 years as opposed to 25 years for the property. So the sort of considerations you're going to have when you do that is keeping the business open, which means retaining the old premises. And part of our job is to price in the cost of doing that and running two properties for a while or for a period, I guess. Also, there's the consideration of your current lease, if you have one, and can you get out of it? And if not, how long until you can? And again, we'd have to price in rents until that period. Or if you own the property, what you're going to do with the old property. So we've come up against all these hurdles with lenders and managed to negotiate through and obtain the finance. Finally, there's actually, if you're buying a freehold property or a long lease, there's then the type of property it is. If it's a commercial property already, then that makes it nice and easy. However, if you find the perfect property and it's currently residential and you've had a good indication that you can actually convert it to commercial, then basically it depends, in terms of the finance, it depends on timescales. If you've got a lot of time before you need to complete on the property, then the general healthcare banks will be happy to lend subject to obtaining change of use. So they'll put that in as a condition, but you need to get the change of use prior to drawdown of the loan. If that's not possible, another route that we often encounter is that people will obtain a bridge. And again, we can help to arrange that, a commercial bridge, to purchase the property as a residential property, obtain change of use, obtain the correct costings for the works, etc. And then we can go back with the correct information to the healthcare lending bank and refinance everything onto a standard healthcare loan.
So Kevin, how do banks tend to view these applications?
Well, actually, credit policy is quite mixed amongst the banks. What we try to do is steer the application away from the traditional property development loan, which can be quite restrictive, and more down the healthcare funding route. And the way we do this is, again, as I mentioned earlier, if people have got a good will value that's fairly high and unencumbered, we just basically gear up against people's goodwill. But every application is different and every bank lends slightly differently. So that, our job is to know all of the banks and their credit policies and steer people in the right direction.
Thanks, Kevin. So if you've been thinking about relocating your practice because you want to expand, then our details will flash up on the screen. Please get in touch and we'll be happy to chat through your proposition.